Seeing beyond the disaster, the vision for an Asia Emergency Preparedness and Response, or AEPR capability, is to enhance the coherence of disaster response by exercising country-level emergency management using actual contingency plans. AEPR exercises will be supported by trained facilitators and state-of-the-art emergency management decision support simulation technology.
The World Food Programme first identified the need for the Asia Emergency Preparedness and Response Initiative, AEPR, after we'd been very heavily involved in major disaster responses, the Indian Ocean tsunami in 2004, the Kashmir earthquake in 2005. And one of the lessons from those emergency responses was that different UN organizations, NGOs deployed very capable individual staff members, but the organizations didn't always work together as seamlessly and efficiently as possible, particularly in the early stages of the disaster response. So the idea behind the AEPR is that we bring the organizations together before an emergency and simulate what a disaster might be, and have them go through that simulation together and figure out what are going to be the challenges and how best to work together. But there was going to be a major technological hurdle. We were not experts in simulation software. We did not have that kind of background. This was new, uncharted area for us. And so I approached Microsoft and asked them if they could help the World Food Programme pursue this initiative, particularly on the technology side. From the beginning, Microsoft has been a great partner and strong supporter of this initiative. They've understood very quickly what it is that we're trying to do, and they have been creative in trying to find the right solution for us. So it's been a really strong partnership, and we never would have been able to get where we are now with the AEPR without Microsoft's partnership and participation. Once we have the AEPR up and running, it's going to provide a huge benefit to the organizations involved in disaster response. I think we're going to make a quantum leap forward in the level of preparedness of governments and their disaster response organizations, UN agencies, and NGOs. The organizations themselves need to do a lot more in advance of an emergency to train together. When there is an emergency, it's usually the government that takes the lead in organizing the response. So it's so important that UN organizations, NGOs, work collaboratively with governments in advance, and that governments play that leading role in advance of a disaster during a training or exercise. Based on our experience responding to major disasters like the Indian Ocean tsunami, Kashmir earthquake, we identified two big gaps in the emergency response capability. The interoperability between organizations and links between contingency planning and exercising. The AEPR is designed to fill both those gaps by using high-tech simulation capability to show what we would really face in the event of a natural disaster, and then through exercising we will identify what more we have to do on the contingency planning side. And the key component of this is the technology, the simulation software. Microsoft has been an invaluable partner in helping us develop that software and putting in place this capability.
The Disaster Preparedness and Response Program is part of Microsoft's broader citizenship efforts worldwide. The program is specifically focused on working with public sector agencies globally to help them mitigate risks and threats associated with disasters.
The AEPR and the technology behind it, which we've developed together with Microsoft, will enable us to be more collaborative with our humanitarian partners and to have contingency planning in advance of emergencies breaking out. We see the software and our relationship with Microsoft as being a step forward in being able to be more responsive, earlier and better in emergency situations around the world. So we thank Microsoft, and we look forward to working together with them and our other humanitarian actors in bringing this very interesting piece of technology, a very valuable piece of technology, to the market in the near future.
a natural disaster creates an immediate need for help in large quantities. That help arrives in the form of large numbers of strangers turning up in a strange country with all of that assistance. The opportunities for confusion, there is normally confusion, there is sometimes chaos. And the whole point of the AEPR program is to harmonize the helpers. The Asian Emergency Preparedness and Response Program is designed, among other things, to improve interoperability, to go back to this point about harmonizing the helpers, to assist all organizations to prepare their managers and staff to be involved in these things, in the decision-making process, and finally to harmonize the way we train to the way we operate, to link training to operations and back to training.
An Asia Emergency Preparedness and Response capability will address 3 specific objectives. First, promote interoperability between UN agencies for disaster preparedness and response. Second, link training and contingency planning. And third, support disaster response operations management execution.
AEPR program is about training and simulation of the humanitarian community, bringing them all together to practice as a group before they deploy to emergencies, so they will have trained together beforehand, so their response will be more coherent and more effective. That's what the program is all about. It's been fantastic working with Microsoft and Akron. They've been extremely helpful and generous of their time and money in looking at ways that we can improve how we do our business.
Microsoft can have the greatest impact in these 3 areas. Microsoft has made a comprehensive commitment to partner with government agencies to make a positive impact through technology, to improve the lives and transform the potential of people worldwide.
In the humanitarian space, it's almost as if you spend 95% of your time deeply involved in the work, because there's always more stuff to do. And very little of the time can be spent, frankly, on training, on doing that capacity building. You sort of live by doing your work. So anything that makes it easier to do training, to do repeatable trainings, to get other people involved from outside, to enable people to do it from their desktop and work with others in remote locations, and particularly to bring organisations together in the same environment, is going to be really helpful. I really think that a flexible training and simulation environment, particularly a virtual environment, is going to add an immense amount to the capabilities, the repeatability, the effectiveness and the accountability of humanitarian response.
The application helps first responders prepare for disasters. It also allows them to create realistic scenarios in preparation for training for disasters, and during a response to a humanitarian situation, it can actually allow them to coordinate a response to that disaster. At the end of the day, we believe that this application will save lives, and ultimately that's what it's all about. The application and the collaboration with Microsoft has been key to Akron to allow us to achieve this goal.